It was just after midnight on July 3rd, 2025. A quiet Spanish highway, no crowds, no lights, just the open road and the gentle hum of a Lamborghini engine. Inside were two brothers, Diogo Jota and Andre Silva. They had a long drive ahead of them. They were almost home, but they never made it. A sudden tire blowout, a loss of control, a violent crash into a slope, then flames. Within moments, both brothers were gone, and with them, a piece of football's heart was lost forever. Diogo Jota was only 28. Born in the small Portuguese town of Gondomar, Diogo was never destined for the spotlight. He wasn't the most talked about kid. He wasn't from wealth or privilege, but what he had was fire. Quiet fire, the kind that burns slow and steady, the kind that never goes out. He played barefoot, in the streets, on worn-down turf fields, anywhere the ball would bounce. His brother Andre was always nearby, his shadow, his teammate, his biggest fan. Diogo wasn't just talented, he was obsessed with improving, obsessed with winning, obsessed with doing it the right way, humbly, honestly, with his head down and his heart open. By 18, he was playing professionally. By 20, he was on loan at FC Porto. And by 21, the English Premier League came calling. It was at Wolverhampton Wanderers where the world first really saw what Diogo could do. Speed, power, balance, precision. He didn't just play the game, he studied it, moved like he was always 2 steps ahead. He scored 17 goals in his first season and helped Wolves rise to the Premier League. A star had quietly arrived. Then came the call, Liverpool. In 2020, Jota signed with one of the biggest clubs in the world. Some doubted him, said he'd sit on the bench, that he wouldn't crack the starting 11. But Diogo didn't listen. He let his boots talk. He scored on his debut and never looked back. Over 5 seasons, Jota scored more than 60 goals for Liverpool. Each one mattered. He wasn't just a finisher, he was a fighter. The kind of player who sprinted in the 90th minute, chased every lost cause, played like every game was his last. He helped Liverpool win the FA Cup, the League Cup, and finally, the Premier League title after years of heartbreak. Jota was part of the squad that brought glory back to Anfield, and he did it with his usual humility. No drama, no ego, just passion. But it wasn't just about club football. For his country, Portugal, Diogo wore the national jersey with unmatched pride. He represented a new generation. He scored 14 goals in 49 appearances and helped secure 2 Nations League titles. Yet behind the goals and the trophies was a man deeply rooted in love. Love for his family, love for his friends, love for the game. He married his childhood sweetheart, Ruth, just days before the accident. Together, they had 3 beautiful children. He had only just become a husband. His youngest child had only just been born. He was entering the happiest chapter of his life, professionally, personally, spiritually, and then everything ended. On that night, Diogo and Andre were traveling by road instead of air. Doctors had advised against flying due to recent lung surgery, so they chose to drive, a safer option, a quieter route, a brotherly road trip. But fate had its own script. In a single moment, that joy, that laughter, that future was gone. The world woke up to headlines no one wanted to read. Liverpool fans gathered at Anfield stunned. They lit candles, hung scarves on the gates, wrote messages that didn't quite feel real. Songs were sung through tears.
His name is Diogo.
In Portugal, flags flew at half-mast. Entire matches were paused for moments of silence. Players dropped to their knees. Managers broke down in interviews. Opponents hugged one another before kickoff. Because when someone like Jota leaves, everyone feels it. Cristiano Ronaldo, one of the biggest names in football, said, "It doesn't make sense. We were just together." And truly, it didn't make sense. At the funeral in Gondomar, the air was heavy. Hundreds gathered in silence. Friends, teammates, coaches, family. Liverpool's squad stood shoulder to shoulder, eyes downcast. Some carried flowers. Some couldn't even speak. They buried Diogo and Andre side by side, just like they had lived. And yet, even in death, Diogo Jota's legacy began to grow. Liverpool immediately retired his number 20 shirt. At the Gold Cup, Raul Jimenez, his former teammate, wore Diogo's name and mimicked his celebration in tribute after scoring a goal. At Wimbledon, a 148-year-old tradition was broken. Players wore black armbands in mourning. Football stopped for Diogo Jota. The world slowed down because he wasn't just a great footballer, he was a great man. The type of player who never forgot where he came from. The type of teammate who lifted others. The type of father who raced home from training to read bedtime stories. The type of husband who held hands in public, long after the cameras were off. The type of brother who never stopped looking out for Andre. They called him the Quiet Storm because he never made a scene. He just delivered. And in doing so, he captured the respect of the world. Now his boots are empty, his locker stands untouched. His song echoes through Anfield, not in celebration, but in remembrance. But Diogo Jota's story doesn't end here. It lives in every young boy who laces up his boots, dreaming big from small towns. It lives in every striker who plays with heart, not hype. It lives in every goal scored with humility, in every fan who refuses to forget. Diogo Jota may be gone, but he'll never walk alone, not in this life or the next. Rest in peace, Diogo Andre. Thank you for everything.